All right, my friends. Mike Walker here, back with you in Module 3. This is a big one, guys. This is an exciting place inside of the Wealthy Consultant Launch Kit program. Let's get straight into it, man. We got a lot of work to do, so let's get into it. Module 3, Market Mastery, Understanding Your Ideal Client. After completing this series, you will know exactly who your ideal client is, what they want, and how to communicate your message to the marketplace effectively and confidently. You'll remember back in Module 2, we spent a lot of time more internal, right? We're kind of doing our homework. We're developing our hypothesis of what we believe the market wants and also what we believe our best strengths and abilities are to connect the dots between what the market wants and needs and what our abilities are to fulfill that. We've kind of done the due diligence up front to again, develop our hypothesis of what we think the market is going to respond to most favorably. But now in Module 3, what we're going to do is shift over to actually engaging with the market. We're literally going to go out and start talking to people and start making sure that, yes, what it is that I'm offering, the solution that I'm providing is in fact what they're calling for, what they're looking for, and what they're willing to pay for, most importantly, right? So let's dive into it. We're going to give you a step-by-step framework for doing this. And again, I want you to associate, if you're new to this, if you never communicate with the market before, if this is your first step into the market, if you're feeling a little uncertain, if you're a little like, oh, this feels crazy, great. That is a great feeling. I want you to congratulate yourself for doing that because this is growth. This is progress. And we're going to start moving forward in imperfect action. Remember? Okay, let's dive into it. So market sophistication, this is a critical component to understand as a consultant, as a coach, as somebody that has market expertise, a particular skill set. You need to understand where your audience is when we talk about market sophistication. So let's dive into that. So lesson 3.1, here's what we're going to cover: selling versus serving. There's a significant difference there. Talking their language, why understanding the level of sophistication of your ideal client is so important. We're going to talk about the 4 stages of market sophistication, what they look like. And then we're also going to talk about 5 questions to help identify the market sophistication of your total addressable market, what we call your TAM. Okay, so TAM stands for total addressable market. Let's move forward. One of my favorite quotes: stop selling, start helping. Zig Ziglar, phenomenal human being. And he, this really does sum it up: is stop selling, start helping. When in the world of consulting, this is absolutely the best way to look at it, is just start helping people achieve whatever it is that they're wanting to achieve. And you will be handsomely rewarded for doing so when you become effective and efficient at doing that. So let's talk about serving versus selling. By taking a service-oriented approach, consultants can build trust, establish credibility, and ultimately achieve better results for their clients, plain and simple. So this isn't about us just pitching a program or pitching our services. It's about genuinely outreaching and saying, hey, look, I see that you're looking to achieve X, Y, or Z. I found a way to do that effectively. Let me show you how to do it, right? Pretty simple. Now, understanding market sophistication is where this becomes very critical. It's very important to be able to adapt your message to the level of knowledge and awareness that potential clients have about a problem and its possible solution. There's some very intricate nuance here that you need to be aware of, because a lot of people don't spend time to understand what market sophistication means as it pertains to their audience. And so they have a very hard time generating any business because the way that they're conveying their message is not in alignment with where their audience understands or is aware of their needs, wants, or what it is that they're trying to do. Okay, so let's talk about the 4 stages of market sophistication. Stage number 1 is what we call problem aware. At this stage, the client is aware that they have a problem but doesn't yet understand the root cause or possible solutions. So if this is the case, then you want to focus on educating the client about the problem and its impact on their business. So again, stage 1 is problem aware. They have a problem, but they don't yet understand why or what the solutions are. It's very new to them. They just understand, wow, I've got a problem, but they're basically clueless beyond that. They really don't know what to do about it other than, wow, I've got a problem. This isn't working how I'd want it to, or I'm not getting the results I'm wanting to, whatever it may be. If this is the case, if you find that this is the case for your audience, then you need to focus on educating the client about the problem so they truly understand it and its impact on their business or their life. You need to educate them on the problem. Okay, so if they're problem aware, they have the problem, then you can spend more time focusing on that problem, saying, look, Here's let's break down this problem. Let me show you the ramifications of this problem. In doing that, now you're speaking in a way that they're going to understand. Okay. Now, stage 2 is solution aware. At this stage, the client has started to research and learn about possible solutions to their problem. They may be interested in learning about different options and evaluating which one would be the best fit for their business or life, whatever it may be. Now, in the solution aware environment, helping the client understand the pros and cons of different solutions and how they work in their specific context. See how this is changing a little bit? So now if you find that your ideal clients are already solution aware, then you're going to spend more time on the pros and cons of the different solutions, knowing that that's where they're at in their awareness level, right? They already know that they have a problem. They're already in the process of searching it. So what are you going to do to add value to the market? You're going to start providing opportunities for you to show them the pros and cons of the different solutions. You already know that they have a problem, so you don't need to educate them on that. You're educating them on the different solutions that may be available. Okay, so see how this is kind of evolving a little bit? Stage number 3 is what we call product aware. At this stage, the client is familiar with different products and services that can solve their problem. They may be looking to compare different offerings and make a decision about which one to choose. This is key. So they've already done the homework. They're very aware at this point. They're problem aware, and they are also aware of the different solutions. They've already done their homework. So you, as the consultant, the coach, the subject matter expert, you're going to help the client evaluate different products or services and make an informed decision based on their specific needs. So now this becomes a more sophisticated audience because, again, they already know the problem. They've already done the homework. They've already looked at the different options. They're very aware of all that. So you're going to have to talk it on a different level. You're going to have to be much more specific in terms of the solutions, the services that you're providing, because you are talking to a much more sophisticated audience. And then lastly, stage 4 is most aware. At this stage, the client has a deep understanding of the problem, the possible solutions. They may have already even tried different solutions and are now looking for a more specialized or customized approach. This is the most sophisticated audience. This is the hardest to break through because they've done the work. They've already invested a lot of time and attention and possibly even money into different solutions. They've probably even tried some. So now, in order to break through the skepticism and the resistance that you'll likely feel at this stage, you're going to need to offer more advanced or customized services that meet the client's specific needs. So again, if you're just starting out, you're going to have to get really, really clear on where is my market? Where are they at in the problem that I can solve? And then you can start communicating on that level. So you can imagine if I'm trying to communicate with extremely advanced or customized services to somebody that doesn't even really understand they even have a problem yet, or they're barely aware that they have a problem. See how that disconnect happens? They'd be like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not even sure I even have this problem, right? So it's not about what you know, it's about what they need and how you can convey that solution to them effectively. All right, excellent. So let's look at this. I want you to be aware of the market by volume. Stage 1, problem aware, a lot of people are there, okay? A lot of people are typically in the problem aware stage. Solution aware, slightly fewer because there's more work, there's more time exposure, there's more involved to become to this level of sophistication. Stage 3, you see it's less, and then stage 4, even fewer people are at this stage in terms of market sophistication. All right. Now, the interesting component, though, is that typically the more sophisticated they are, the more valuable the problem is when it's solved. They've done the homework. They've tried all these things. They're like, I've done all this. If you can actually solve it really, really well and uniquely in a way that just truly meets their need, then they're going to be far more prone to pay you more money to fix that problem. So you can see the inverse correlation here between problem aware. There's a lot of people there, but they just need to know, they're just at the stage where they're trying to figure out what the problem even is, right? Versus somebody who's most aware, they're very sophisticated in the sense that they know exactly what they're looking for, and they're looking for somebody that can provide it. So you can see how the level of sophistication increases as the value also increases. Very, very important context to understand and be able to clearly identify where your solution fits in alignment with where the audience, where your market is. All right, so spend some time on this slide, try to get clear. Again, these are things that as we get into the marketplace, you're gonna find this out. And that's why I'm bringing this up to you early so that you go into the marketplace already knowing that, wow, my job here is basically just playing detective. It's not to try to convince somebody they're in stage 3 or stage 2. My job is simply to just to identify where people are at And you'll find a full spectrum for sure. It's not that all your people are going to be in one stage, but you'll typically find your product, your services, your offer are going to resonate the most with a certain stage of awareness. And so you want to identify that as quickly as possible so you can put your attention and your time and your energy towards that particular area of the marketplace. Now, here are 5 questions to help identify the market sophistication of your total addressable market. Question number 1, how much does the client know about the problem they are facing? Do they understand the root cause, or are they still trying to diagnose the issue? So again, this would be very early on. How much does the client even know that they have the problem? How much do they know about it? Question number 2, what kind of research has the client done on potential solutions to their problem? Are they familiar with industry standard solutions? Are they looking for something more tailored to their specific needs? So again, you can start to see we're drawing out more sophistication here. Question number 3, what level of familiarity does the client have with your company and its services? Have they worked with you before, or are they new to your offerings? Now, this one's pretty simple to answer, right? Have they worked with me or have they not, right? So again, but the way that you would communicate to someone who's been around the block a little bit, either with you or within your industry, is gonna be significantly different than somebody who's barely understands the problem they're even facing, right? So you can start to see the differences here. Question number 4, how urgent is the client's need for a solution? Are they actively seeking a solution, or are they just starting to explore their options? This is a critical one to answer, because if they're just starting to explore their options, if they're still a little unsure about what their problem even is, or what the ramifications of the problem or solution that they're seeking is, then they're obviously not going to have as much urgency to solving it, because they're still just kind of exploring it. Versus somebody that's very aware and is like, I need this fixed ASAP. This is a problem in my business, or this is a problem in my life, and therefore probably far more valuable and therefore far more prone to spend more money to fix it if they know that they have the problem and they understand its impact in their life or their business. And lastly, question number 5, what is the client's level of investment in solving the problem? Are they willing to spend significant time and resources to find a solution, or are they looking for a quick fix? This is critical as well. This kind of speaks to the complexity of the problem that we're solving. Are people just looking for, it'd be nice one day to get this resolved? Or is it like, I need this immediately fixed ASAP because this is hindering my life or business, right? So again, this all goes back to module 2 when we were really trying to draw out from our hypothesis what the market needs, what's keeping them up at night. That's why these questions, those worksheets are so imperative, because it directly correlates to how you're going to interact with the market and identify who these people are out there in the world. All right, so let's recap. Aim to serve and you'll never have to sell. This isn't about pitching your services or your product. This is simply about serving them. Produce a valuable outcome. That's the goal. Have your message meet them where they are. Make sure that when you are communicating, we're going to get into that here in the next lessons. When you're out in the marketplace and you're making the calls, you're sending the emails, you're dropping the posts in Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever it is that you decide, in which we're going to go over, make sure that you have absolute clarity. What level of sophistication am I talking to? And then that way, everything that you do produce is going to resonate with your audience, because you already know where they're at in their level of awareness and their level of market sophistication. And then lastly, consider addressing multiple stages of awareness and sophistication. Again, not everybody's going to fit into one level. So you just need to be aware of the fact that, hey, look, if you're just looking to get started in XYZ, or are you starting to realize that you need help with 1, 2, 3, that's going to be very different than messaging this, hey, Mike, I know you have probably experienced this and this and this, and you've been dealing with this problem for XYZ, and far more specific languaging is going to be for a more sophisticated audience versus somebody that's more introductory, that you're just trying to help them clarify what it is that they're even dealing with in the first place. So the next steps are: visit the 5 questions we talked about, consider where your ideal client is in its awareness, and then simply proceed to 3.2. There's no homework necessarily here other than spending some time with those 5 questions and making sure that, again, we have a generalized idea of where we believe our total addressable market to be. And then in the next lesson, we're going to actually get out into the marketplace. We're going to test this, and we're going to get true market feedback to understand that if our hypothesis is truly in alignment with the realities of the marketplace. Exciting stuff, guys. All right, we'll see you in the next video.